welcome to the latest edition of Cruising with the Coaches, a conversation with Julie and Lee. I'm trying to get my professional broadcasting voice on, so
Is that what that was?
I, I'm gonna go with that.
I
Yeah,
wasn't gonna say nothing.
yeah. That's what that was.
Okay.
So we'll start again. Yeah. Welcome to Cruising with the Coaches, a
Oh,
conversation with Julie and Lee. Yeah, see, that works. That works.
wow. Okay.
Welcome in, y'all. That's how we roll, man. Get it. If it's too serious, right? If you can't have fun with it, what's the point? You
Yeah, exactly.
know. So I got a question for you, like I
Yes.
normally do,
Uh-huh.
and I promise it's not anything about a loofah or brush or
Oh,
anything, but that's coming
I
next
was gonna
next
say we
episode.
almost went an episode without you saying loofah.
You didn't hear it. You didn't hear it. You didn't hear it. But
Yes, sir.
last time I checked,
Oh, excuse me.
we both do have kids. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I
Last time I
have
checked.
three times as many as you, but yes.
It's and a wonderful job you've done with that. Yes, I would venture to say that there is some not just academic intelligence, yeah, but
Uh-huh.
also emotional intelligence. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I think two,
Sure.
two of the three counts. Two of the three
Y-
counts.
Okay. Okay.
And we're not saying which two of the three.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
that's. But I just wanted to point that out because that's what we're talking about today.
Yes.
Developing emotional intelligence in kids. Um, and before we jump into the slides, I would just I'm glad, and I think you probably are too. I don't know how they people raising young kids these days. Like it's tough with teenagers as it is, right? But I cannot imagine having a toddler right now or
Oh, yeah. Because
I
I
mean
have that dynamic with my sister. So my sister has a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
I cannot
And
imagine.
like I'd be looking at them like,
Like, when are you going back to your mommy?
I am like, oh hell no.
Mm, yeah, I just I couldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a wow. Yeah, it's
It's a
tough.
different dynamic for sure. For sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about: developing emotional intelligence. So this article is from MSN.com and written by Reem Rauda. I'm gonna go with, but raising a child in today's fast-paced world, academic or achievement-driven world, is no small feat. And a lot of parents focus on grades, extracurriculars, but one of the most overlooked skills is emotional intelligence. And it doesn't just help kids excel socially, right? It helps them grow into resilient, empathetic, successful adults who can navigate challenges with confidence and foster meaning relationships and lead fulfilling lives. That's a lot, right? I felt like a textbook thing, but it, when you're looking at like these different generations, or if you're looking in the workplace, whatever, and there's different generations, I kind of see that, right? Where people
For sure.
struggle with empathy, right? And they struggle with social uh, dynamics, right? So I think that comes from, well, it hopefully comes from parenting or lack thereof, right?
Right.
Um, so this article we're going to share some ways on how to um, raise your kids with emotional intelligence. And this particular Reem Rauda had studied over 200 children and 200 parent-child relationships, and found that these 7 strategies were the things that parents used most often and early on. So the first one is understanding the power of silence. This gave the child space to process their feelings and trust their inner voice. When the child was upset, they sat quietly beside them, offering comfort without words, embracing silence can help children better navigate and reflect on their emotions. Um, that's a. How do you feel about that one first?
Oh,
About
I
that
think
strategy?
1,000%. I mean, I ain't gonna
Yeah.
sit beside you with your silence, first of all. But my that's a little different. I'm like, that's not what I'm gonna do.
Sure.
But I think it's better to have them sit in that silence alone,
Right.
because
Yeah.
the only with a person who has multiple children, if you start teaching them that tantrum's going to get them one-on-one time with you, then that's what they're going to gain from that and say, "Oh, okay. So this is my gain." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I never did the one-on-one. Like, you're going to get silence.
Right.
It's going to be time for you to think about what you could do to either join us or sit here and
Right.
wallow in your whatever this is that you're doing.
Right.
But I
Right.
mean, I agree with it, just not the sitting beside you in
I'm glad
in
we,
your
we
mess.
felt that was the part that was messing with me too. Like I got other things to do.
Right.
I can't necessarily, but I like the way you put it. Right, it would that might teach. Oh, that's manipulation,
That's the
right?
gain, exactly.
So
Yeah.
oh, if I do this, I get the one-on-one time, and I used to think about that. With the one,
Hmm.
like well, still doesn't get that. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
there's plenty of time for that anyway, right?
Right. Right.
So yeah, the sitting, I was like, hmm, okay, but silence, yes,
Yes. Yes.
definitely great strategy, absolutely. The second one is naming emotions. So by verbally sharing feelings like I'm frustrated or I'm happy, this taught the children emotional awareness and gave them the words to express themselves. This helped the children also see emotions as normal and um, and share them openly rather than suppressing them. So, anything that you'd like to share about the naming of emotions?
I mean, I think that's good because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know you and I come from that same generation of your parents just, you deal with it, you walk away and you just suck it up kind of a thing. You don't even know what you're feeling. You just pissed off.
Feelings? What? What are
What?
those?
What is bubbling inside of me? What is this rage?
Feeling? Oh, that's not normal. Just
Oh yeah.
oh god. Oh
What is
oh.
this? I
Okay.
must suppress. And so, you know, t- like I do find myself exactly, and I do find myself having that therapeutic conversation with my own kids, and I'm like, I laugh because I could almost see my mom like laughing at me, like really, like, are you talking like this? But like I
Right.
will say
Right.
to my kids, like, I understand what you're feeling, but you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to, you know, spill your feelings based on whatever you went through with your friends onto me. I was like, I'm just sitting here doing my thing. You're pissed off at whoever, and you're trying to bring that, you're like, and I'll tell them, like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's okay to feel what you're feeling, but just don't spill
You
it
don't
onto
you
me.
don't
Like,
have to share all the time,
exactly,
everything.
exactly.
I'm with
And
that too. Yeah.
yeah, and like, yeah, but like I said, I could literally hear my mom like laughing at me, like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're explaining yourself to your children."
Naming what? What are you
What?
naming?
What is this? What are you naming? What is going on?
Well, and I will say, like when the kids are younger, I think there's always this an attempt, right, to say
Yes.
like use your words. So getting
Yes.
them to try to name stuff, then right. Um, so I think as they're younger, that's
Well,
definitely
even especially when they're younger,
yeah,
because when they're
yeah.
small and you can explain to them, like if they're having a meltdown at a family gathering, be like,
Mm-hmm,
hey, I know you're hungry and I know you're getting upset
mm-hmm,
because you're hungry, and
mm-hmm.
then they're like, oh, like,
I didn't
yeah,
but I
I
was hungry. But
I am
yeah, that's why I'm.
hungry, but you're right. Or, I know you're bored. I know you're tired. I know like when you start to help them understand, like, crap,
Absolutely.
like that's what's wrong with me, then they're like, okay, like there's a reason for this,
And
and
I
then they're
think
like,
they can process it a little bit better.
exactly,
It doesn't make it
exactly.
go away, but it's like,
Yes,
all right, I can understand it a little bit. Even
yes,
at that young age, you know.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. Or
for
like even
sure.
as you have a pubescent young lady, and it's yes, and it's
Oh,
you're
sorry.
like,
Did my
yeah, you're
face
sitting there
show?
like,
Like,
I know why you're angry, I know why you're this, and then they're like, oh, like they might walk away for 5 minutes and they'll come back and you're like, oh mom, yeah, you're right, it's
yeah.
coming, it's that's what's wrong, like, yes, so here's some chocolate, and why don't you and it's like you're not trying to be mean, you're just basically, I understand and it's okay, what you're going through is okay, but you don't have to take it out on the rest of the world.
Or or
So,
or me. Yeah.
or me specifically, but
You can take it out on your friends
no,
tomorrow.
nobody you come across needs to go through this, but yeah.
Yeah, I could. We'd have to have a whole nother show on some of those conversations. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Oh man. Number three is apologizing to their children. So they showed their children that mistakes are part of life and taking responsibility is strength. Apologizing built trust and showed respect, making the child feel valued. It also modeled empathy and taught them how to repair relationships. Um, I can say that I've done this a few times, um, especially if it was unintentional, right?
Mhm.
And you see the break start to happen, right? Or you see body language change, and you're like, oh, that's something that I said or did.
Right.
Or I have definitely apologized before, for
Or at least said, the way I said something wasn't meant to hurt your feelings,
oh
like,
yeah, not
yeah,
apologizing for maybe what was said,
right,
but
exactly. Because sometimes
I
I need to
didn't
be
mean
hearing
for
what
it
you
to
said.
but it was not intended for that outcome, you know.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
but it's still the truth. Still the truth.
Exactly.
Sorry.
I'm gonna tell you your truth.
And well, here we go. Number four, and not forcing please, thank you, or sorry. So this might be and sound unconventional, but they knew kindness and respect can't be forced. So instead, they modeled these behaviors, trusting that their child would learn by example. If their child forgot to say thank you, the parent said it for them, confident the lesson would stick over time. I, I'll go first. I'll go first. Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I think um okay, I won't say that I've ever forced something like a sorry, right? No,
Mhm.
I can't even say that. Nope, I've forced that too. Um some of that is like manners, right? You say
Right.
please, you say thank you, and if there's something that you need to apologize for, then yes, you say I'm sorry, right? If you caused if some of your actions caused something to someone else, yes, you need to say you're sorry. I have forced that before, for sure.
Okay.
I've definitely forced that.
Okay.
Um, not sure if I wouldn't. And again, that was probably at younger ages, like preschool age, right, kindergarten age. As she's gotten older, definitely don't force that kind of stuff because you get to pick and choose how you feel about somebody. Now, certain manners I think then have been modeled, right? Saying please and thank you when something like that happens, but definitely not forcing this stuff as they've gotten older. That's
Okay.
how I roll. That's how I roll.
Okay. So I'm the opposite.
Okay.
It's not you need to go, you need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's you do what you want to do, but
Mm.
understand this is what happened
Gotcha.
and this is how this other person feels.
Mm-hmm.
And should you choose not to,
There's
understand
consequences for
there's
that too.
consequences for that action.
Mm. Gotcha.
I mean,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, sometimes they didn't say sorry for a couple days. And my middle child is the worst. She's the worst.
Mm.
Like she is the silent treatment queen. Queen of the silent treatment.
Perfected it. Yeah.
Yes, perfected it. And so it's just kind of like, um, yeah,
They'll they'll
yeah,
they'll come around or not, and
exactly. And even
you're thinking
she
about now.
doesn't, she, to this, even as an adult,
Mm.
her apology is not an outright apology.
Sure.
She
Sure.
has learned to it's an act of an apology.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
whether it's something you've asked her to do that she hasn't done, it all of a sudden becomes completed,
Okay.
or something that she knows that you like is somehow a gift that is
Just
something that you
shows up.
received.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So
So
she's not an active person who
yeah,
apologizes.
doesn't
She's
have to be verbal. It's not a verbal thing.
yes,
Okay. Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's not how she rolls. She's different. She's different.
But
Yeah.
still seems like the the way that you raised them, she still is able to process it and
Yes.
find her own way. So
Yes.
that's still emotional intelligence, no matter how you cut it.
Oh, facts,
It's
facts.
not like she's ignoring it at all. Like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, no. In fact, I think she'll tell you she doesn't say she's sorry because of me. Because when she said she was sorry before,
Hmm.
I would say something. I can't remember. I guess I think I had like a timeline. Like if you didn't say sorry by a certain time, like to me, then you wasn't
Sorry.
sorry enough. So so that now she don't say sorry. So
She's like, well, I
I,
ain't gonna make the timeline, so I guess I ain't sorry.
exactly. I didn't make the deadline, so I ain't saying sorry.
Fair. I can get down with that. I can get down with that.
But I haven't been like that in a long time. But that's her recollection. So that's what she's sticking
So
with.
we need to have we need to have your middle daughter as a guest and then revisit why people remember what they do. We just did that episode. Like that's we need to have a guest.
She will. Oh Lord, she will tell you some stories. I tell you that.
Oh. Mm.
Ah.
Well, we will take a break on that note. And after the break, we'll come back and talk about the rest of the strategies for emotional intelligence for your kids. Stay tuned and don't tell on anybody. Don't say I'm sorry. Don't. We'll be right back. We'll be right back. Hey, folks, welcome back from the break. This is the latest episode of Cruising with the Coaches, conversation with Julie and Lee. And we are talking about how to make, well, how we've made our kids emotionally intelligent and giving you all the strategies that came from the article from MSN. So, shall we jump into the rest of these strategies?
Sure.
All right. Oh, yeah, no, we already talked about not forcing this. So, number five is not dismissing small worries. They took their child's concerns seriously, whether it was a lost toy or trouble with a friend, and by validating the feelings, they showed that their child's emotions mattered, and they fostered self-worth, emotional safety, and respect for their experiences. So, mm, probably haven't done so well with this one.
Okay.
Well, no, I think again, I probably have been better with these tips and strategies at different stages, obviously, right?
Right.
Um, but I would say in those middle years, those tween, you're not quite a teenager, but the
Okay.
tween years, it was like maybe you should share that with your friends. That's maybe that's a concern. You should. Oh yeah, that show. Yeah, I don't watch it. That thing you want. Yeah, your friends. You know them. Share that with them. Yeah. Um. So probably did more of that, but I think if it was a real concern, or if it was something, definitely tried to listen for sure. You know, definitely try to do that. Any thoughts you have on this before we move to the next
Now,
one?
I think it's interesting because, like I said, my sister has a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
they are concerned with everything, everything. And I am just like literally dumbfounded. Like I'm
yeah,
looking at
yeah.
them going, what?
You're
Like,
like you're 3 and 5. How are you concerned
yes,
with that? Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And I'm like, what? But I mean, it's adorable. Like to me,
Sure,
like the
sure.
two of them, he is like the emotional intelligence is definitely there because he is legitimately concerned for his sister. Like
All right, right,
he
right, right.
will literally say, "No, no, I sister needs to be okay." Like,
That.
but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, he could turn that off too because he's like she'll have her meltdown and he'll be looking at her like,
What is wrong with
what are we
you?
doing? Like, what are we like? That's when he goes into his own room and like,
Like I
I'm gonna
can't
put
deal with this
myself in
anymore.
silence, like, because I'm done. Like, I don't know what she's doing because I'm
Right.
done. But
But
like,
that's cool that you can actually see the wheels turning like
you
that.
can
You know what I
with
mean?
both of
Yeah.
them, with both of
Yeah.
them, and it's just interesting to me because they're 3 and 5, but
Mm-hmm.
you can tell their way of thinking
Mm-hmm.
is very just different. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they're the options. The options
Yeah.
are there,
Well,
and so
they're in touch, dude. Yeah.
yes, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of going,
Yeah.
hell, when I was 3, like I had the hammer and I can put it in the thing and or the blocks and put them in, like those were the options I had. Like I'm like,
Cylinder and the
yes,
cylinder,
do you remember
triangle
that
and the.
toy? Where they got these notebooks and
And
they're
then you're like,
flipping through.
where's the square? Where's the?
Yes, exactly. I'm like hammering wood, and they're sitting there with tablets, like figuring
It's
out
a
what app they want to play. I'm like,
whole
what
different
the
ball game,
heck?
right? And they can figure it out, and you're like, how? Yeah.
Yes. Or like we're sitting there and he's upset because it's a commercial. And I'm sitting here going, bro, I don't have it where it doesn't like mine doesn't have I don't have
the
the I'm
where
not upgraded. I
no,
have commercials. I'm so sorry.
like I'm not paying 5.99.
Exactly. I'm just sitting there like I'm so sorry.
See, old school, old school.
But again, it's like
Yeah.
he's not doesn't have the patience for commercials.
And you're
He's
like,
like,
wait a minute, but how you are aware of that anyway, right? Like
Ex-
that's the thing.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. So, anyways,
Oh
craziness.
man, that's well. Apparently, that's a small worry.
Yes,
Number six.
that's a small worry.
Number six is, and this is a good one. I like this one. Not always offering solutions. So the best way to teach decision making is to encourage children to make their own decisions. Instead of fixing the problem, parents would ask, "What do you think we should do?" And this helped boost critical thinking, confidence, and independence. And man, this is stuff that is missing today. Critical
Oh,
thinking, right?
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I can get down with that because I'm not one that's gonna give an answer. I'm like, hmm, okay, I heard everything you said. What do you think? Well,
exactly.
can you just give me the answer? No,
Yeah.
because this ain't affecting my life.
Yeah. And it's just like, and what are you going to do the next time it happens? Like, you have to know what to do. So
Hmm.
you need to figure this out. It's like,
Yep.
hey, what are you going to do? What's going to happen? Oh my God.
I'm not doing anything, but but hey, I'll talk it through with you.
Right.
Like yeah, yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
I'm all for that type of empowerment. 100%.
Yes.
100%
Yes.
for sure. All right, the last one. I'm all for this one too. Embracing boredom. So they let their kids get bored, which helped them become comfortable with stillness. It built creativity, helped self-regulation, and problem-solving skills. The child learned to enjoy their own company and find joy in simple moments like staring out the car window instead of needing a screen. Um, as the only child having that, yeah, had to let her be bored a lot. Like, look,
Hmm.
I'll play with, there's always a lot of parents who have one child. I think struggle with that, right? I want to play with the child. They should have a playmate. So I tried to make it clear, like, look, I'm playing with you, and I enjoy playing with you, whether it's a game, whatever. But I'm not your friend.
Okay.
I, and so there's a boundary. Yes, we'll play for a certain time, but okay, now I'm done, and you need to entertain yourself, or or not. But you can now figure out what you're going to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
if that's being bored, okay, I'm
Yeah.
going to go do this.
Yes. Yes.
Period.
And
Yeah.
obviously, a parent with multiple children, that was never there wasn't a whole lot of boredom.
It was like,
uh,
go play with, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think the hardest part was probably because Jay worked third shift, so he would sleep during the day, so there was
So trying to
quiet
keep them
time.
quiet, right,
Yeah, so being
right,
quiet was
right.
one thing, but
So
even
boredom
then,
wasn't a
it was
thing.
just being quiet. It wasn't being
Right,
bored.
right.
But yeah.
And they were all close in age too, within like a couple years of each other.
So the girls are. So the
Yeah.
girls are less
Okay.
than 2 years, and then Xander comes a big whopping 5 years later.
Okay. So it's
So
not, well, it's not a huge difference, but
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Okay.
yeah.
All right. So then this article wraps up with these tips if you are trying to nurture your child's emotional intelligence, right? Key thing here is modeling the behavior that you want to see, right? So it's expressing yourself with emotions openly, apologizing when you make mistakes, showing kindness and empathy with your interactions. Also, and I believe in this too, right? Validating your child's feelings, no matter how small it seems, and give them the space to process those emotions, right? You can't rush it. Um, I really believe in that one,
Right,
and also encouraging the problem solving, asking open ended questions, getting their input for it, and I think kids do need to be bored. I think they have to figure it out. Well, because again, that's where creativity comes, right?
right,
You can't always be entertained. So the most important thing is building the relationship with your kids and it's got to be it. It's respect and trust because emotional intelligence comes from feeling safe, valued, and understood, and those are key, right?
Right.
Even if it's not about emotional intelligence, your children can thrive and really start to do become their own if they feel safe and
Right. Because I
valued
mean,
and
it has to
loved.
be, yeah, it has to be a safe space. I mean, it has to be
Mm.
an area where they can feel that they can say whatever it is that they need to say, be it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you want to create an area where they can talk about finances. Heaven forbid they want to
Exactly.
talk about politics, but if they want to, they can. But like whatever it is that they
Time limit.
want
Time
to
limit.
be, exactly. But like whatever it is that they want to share, that they
Right.
can share that information. I mean,
Yeah.
I will tell you time and time again, I'm sitting there like,
Mm-hmm.
could you guys like not share everything with me? Because sometimes there are some things that I just don't need to know, and that's okay. It's all good. It's all
We've
good.
we've had a couple episodes where I remember we shared and we're like, "Oh, lucky me! I'm
Right?
thank thank you for." I
Thank
mean,
you for sharing.
I get like you can't really turn it off once it's on,
Right,
so
right.
there's that.
Yes.
Um, but I remember when the pandemic first started, right? And this was like April. Well, this I mean the last couple weeks of March of 2020, right? And schools didn't know what to do, and we're no one knew what to do, and so I literally became my daughter's teacher, and that was she was that tween, right? So
Sure.
right in those middle ages, I remember having a conversation with her, and I was like, "Look, I know that this is I don't even know what to call it, right? But it ain't right. It ain't
It's
normal.
unorthodox.
It's not working for any of us. All right.
Right.
And I know that right now you hate me. And I know that. And I see that. And that's okay. But we got to do this.
Right.
So I'm going to need you like let's determine okay, do you want to go to your room or do you want me to go outside? Like we'll get through it, but then we got to come back and do this work.
Right. Yeah, you need a
So
break.
I get it. Like you can go out back or I'll go whatever. But
Yeah.
I had to like set that early because I'm like, okay, I'm frustrated. You're
Yeah.
frustrated, and that ain't helping nobody. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So yeah, like eh, that helped setting the stage for the expectations too, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, this is what we got to do. So, ooh, yeah, those days are not over. No,
Yeah. Oh.
yeah, yeah. Um, any last thoughts about emotional intelligence, whether it's in kids or adults, just on the whole
Oh
topic of
no.
emotional
No.
intelligence?
We'll stick to kids. Adults are that's a whole other episode.
That's probably a whole nother season, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
We'll do that.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So if any adults are looking for help, we're coaching. Not, no, I'm kidding. No, we're offering
Facts.
services,
Yes.
classes.
Yes, for sure.
Oh man. Hey y'all. It's been fun. Another episode of Cruising with the Coaches, conversation with Julie and Lee. Right down there. You can find us on Spotify. Make sure I'm not gonna do the like and subscribe that my daughter wants me to. Not gonna do
Yeah.
it. But we're on YouTube as well. That's the homepage there. You can find us on YouTube. But definitely check it out, man. Check us out. If you subscribe, you get the new content every time it comes out. So until next show, next episode, stay safe, build some emotional intelligence in yourself and your kids, and we'll see you next time.